In this video, I start out in the mountains of Southern California where we encounter some incredible birds. But then I return to the #1 birding spot in the state of Utah, Antelope Island. We see amazing creatures during this trip, so come with me on this journey and let's see what birds we can find. What's up everybody, back with another video today, and I enjoyed birding the mountains of Southern California so much that we decided to return, but this time for 2 days. We're currently out birding on a beautiful nature trail, and we've started off the morning with a white-breasted nuthatch. So we're gonna continue down this 1-mile loop called the Sequoia Trail. It's a beautiful trail through the woods here. I got the kids with me and some family, and we'll see what we can find on this trail. Let's see what's out there. Continuing down the Sequoia Trail, we spotted this beautiful lizard sunning itself in the overbearing heat of the day. Scuttling around in the grass was a mountain chickadee. Being higher in elevation, these mountain chickadees replaced the black caps of the lower elevations. Further down the trail was one of my favorite birds, the Steller's jay. This is a stunning blue and black bird that's extremely intelligent because it's a corvid. A strange call from above signaled us to a goofy-looking woodpecker known as the acorn woodpecker. So we've seen some really cool species along this trail here, but in my opinion, the coolest species in this forest are 2 tree species. You have the giant sequoias. This is the Sequoia Loop Trail, and these giant sequoias are these massive trees that just extend high up into the sky. Really, really beautiful things. And then behind me here is something known as a Jeffrey pine. Now, Jeffrey pines have the ability to withstand wildfire, and you'll notice with this one, it's burnt, and it's burnt almost all the way halfway up the tree. Now these Jeffrey pines have 6-inch thick bark that protects them from wildfires. So while everything else gets scorched in the forest, these Jeffrey pines are able to stand tall and continue on living. Pretty incredible creatures, the Jeffrey pines and the giant sequoia trees, accompanied by some pretty cool birds that we've seen so far. But let's continue down this trail, see if we can find any other birds, and then we'll move on to our next location.
Yes, you can damage yourself.
Well, I could never do that.
There's some good ways to do that, including stuff like ripples of undeath.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the best place for birding in the state of Utah, Antelope Island. We blew past the causeway because we're gonna wait for people with a scope to come through, but we're currently at Gar Ranch. It's a historic ranch here on the island that used to obviously run just cattle operations here. They have a dedicated Audubon bird area, just a beautiful grove of trees. That's a vagrant trap. So let's see what birds we can find here. We're also going to be joined by some friends in a little bit. Let's see what's out there. Gar Ranch started out with some amazing views of some mammals like this mule deer. Utah has 1 species of deer, and they really are amazing creatures. Although some of them did look better than others, like this mama deer that had her ribs showing as she munched on dead grass. I also saw this adorable cottontail rabbit, but I know y'all are waiting for the birds, so let's get back to those. So we've seen a few species so far, and I say we because I'm joined here by Caleb, and honestly, it was just a couple videos ago that we were in Hawaii with Caleb, so that's really, really fun to be back. And we do have Hawk in here as well, but he's back here recording audio, so you'll see him in the video a little bit later. First bird of the day, common nighthawk. We got one perched up in a tree, just chilling there, sleeping, you know, whatever they do once the sun comes up. Really, really cool birds to get on camera. They blend in very well with the surrounding bark around them. And then just over here on the fence, we picked up some beautiful chipping sparrows. One of my favorite sparrow species. They have a beautiful rufous cap on their head, and they just make one of the coolest calls, in my opinion, in the bird world. Sounds very like, well, chipping. So we're gonna continue around Gar Ranch, see what else is out there. The sun is just breaking through the clouds and providing us with a little bit of golden light. So let's see if we can pick up any awesome birds while we're here. I'm very excited for today. So we just picked up a pretty cool species over here in the brush, a sage thrasher. One of, I don't know, probably one of the harder birds to find in the state of Utah. Like obviously they're around, but it's not something that you see every single day. You have to go to the right habitat, and even when you're in the right habitat, you don't always see them. I don't always see them when I come here to Antelope Island. So they're also a chase bird, like a rare bird up by me in Cache County, Utah, northern Utah. So really, really cool bird to pick up here at Gar Ranch. We're obviously just having a good time. We've got Hawken right there. And we've got Caleb over here, and we're gonna spend a little bit more time here. And then there's burrowing owls on this island. There's a few other things we might wanna stop and see before we head to the causeway, where we're hoping to pick up a lot of shorebird species and gulls and stuff. So we have a lot more to go. Stick with me. Let's see what birds we can find.
We continued walking around the ranch looking for more birds. Coming across a dried up grassy field, we spotted the infamous butcher bird, also known as the loggerhead shrike. If you didn't know, these birds are the only predatory songbirds. An absolutely massive jackrabbit came running across the road in front of our path. I know North America doesn't have kangaroos, but these rabbits are the closest thing we have that have the hops, and they're absolutely huge. Possibly the most surprising encounter of the trip was this Nashville warbler. In fact, it was so surprising that I didn't even notice that it wasn't a yellow warbler until I got home and edited this video. One of the most common impids in Utah, the western wood pewee, screamed from a nearby branch, and thank goodness it was making noise because impids are really hard to identify. It was 9 a.m. already and the sun was beating down on us. 80 degrees at 9 a.m. is very hot to start the day. After watching this beautiful lazuli bunting, another stunning bird caught our attention from the tree over, a cedar waxwing. These birds have beautiful waxy looking tips on their wings and a black mask. It was beginning to get too hot for us, so we decided we should move on, and of course things weren't going as smooth as we had hoped. A slight delay was in the cards for us.
All right, so I kind of have a bad track history with cars and birding. I've had flat tires, I've had stuff. Luckily we got Hawk in here with some pretzels, which I really need, and Caleb. We got the car working again. Looks like I got an alternator issue because this battery is brand new. So yeah, at least it's running. So we'll be able to get at least one place more. But yeah, let's see how far this car can make it, and let's see what other birds we can find today. Thank goodness the jump worked, but wow, that's not fun. I hate car stuff. All right, so we made it to kind of this little tiny grove of trees behind me here. Every patch of trees on Antelope Island you want to hit because there's good birds where there's tree cover, right? So we got here and we actually got another bird on camera, the gray flycatcher. This is a really, really cool flycatcher species. They're easy to tell what they are compared to some of the other ones because they bob their tails up and down. So really cool to get that on camera, pretty good views of it as well. We're gonna continue making our way back across the island, hope the car stays alive, and see what else we can find. So now we're at the visitor center for Antelope Island, and it actually recently burned down. So they took the opportunity, since it burned down, to update it and make it bigger and better. So we're gonna go check out the visitor center real quick and see what new cool features or things they have going on there. Come on, let's go check it out.
The entrance to the visitor center was covered in these beautiful murals of 2 burrowing owls, American white pelicans, a gorgeous American bison, and pronghorn. All iconic species that can be found throughout the island. Inside were some displays featuring some information regarding the native species surrounding the island, and we were super happy to see how many of the awesome birds were featured throughout the educational section of the center. They also have these large statues of the bison, and as this sign reminds us, pronghorn, not antelope. One of the most important organisms found at Great Salt Lake is the brine shrimp, and these were on display as well. These creatures are the foundation of the food web here and rely on the lake to survive. Peering out the window near the exit, we saw this barn swallow and moved out towards the causeway to look for more birds.
Here we are at Great Salt Lake, which at the moment is not very great. It's very shrunken and desolate and terrible, but I will do an entire video on this topic coming up on the Learn channel, so go subscribe over there so you don't miss that. This is a very this is one of the worst ecological disasters to take place in the entire continent of North America if we can't help the lake bounce back from there. But again, we won't get into that right now. Currently looking out over swaths of gulls. We have some Franklin's gulls out there on the water, as well as a ring-billed gull, filming it over here on shore. And then lastly, some American avocets just behind it. So good selection of birds out here on the lake today. I mean, I guess I just named 3 species, but still pretty cool, am I right? Anyways, it's really hot right now, and I woke up at 4 a.m. to get here, so I'm kind of like going through these moments of trying to convince myself that I want to stay out here longer. But we're gonna continue down the causeway. Not very far though, we just can go to the bridge and then the water runs out. That's how low the lake is. It used to go out miles and miles, and it just used to be really thin layers of water, and now it's all dried up. So we'll continue forward, see what else is out there. There's a few targets today. We'd love to get a Jaeger on camera. I heard there's a Ross's goose out here, so that would be pretty sick. But so far we haven't seen either of those. Let's see if we can find them.
Hawk and man the scope as we scan the birds sifting through the shallow water. Unfortunately, we had to look directly into the sun, which made the views subpar. Another icon of Great Salt Lake appeared, black-necked stilts, and these stood out to us first as we scanned the simmering horizon. Two birds that I rarely get on camera came into view, two Baird's sandpipers. To be honest though, the backlighting made them look like just two silhouettes. A massive flock of Wilson's phalaropes were gathered near one of the lake shelves. This is the bird that I believe should be Utah's state bird. It's threatened and relies heavily on the lake for its continuing survival. If the lake goes, that would be absolutely devastating to this beautiful species. A willet picked through the cracked earth as it searched for food across the drying landscape. To illustrate the brutality of the region, an American white pelican struggled as it walked through the drying mud towards the road. The poor bird couldn't seem to get off the ground due to the cement-like mud covering its feet. Overall, it was a nice day of birding. Birding in the late summer is really tough for me. It's when I feel the most burnt out and the heat really gets to me this time of year. I appreciate you all allowing me to have a bit of a break last week, and I hope that my batteries will fully recharge over the next couple weeks. Don't forget to subscribe, and as always, thank you so much for joining me. I hope to see you all next time on Bright-Eyed Birding.